Hello, everyone. This is You Know Who by now. Tonight, I wanted to get on here and talk real quick about some of the latest changes in YouTube. One of them is a video that somebody posted to BitChute talking about how politicians are able to break the terms of service agreements that are on this platform. You have heard me right. Go and check out this video here. I thought I put it in the description below, but in case I didn't, here you go. Yep, that video at the side of the screen and down at the bottom will have the video you need to watch. You know how they're always talking about following terms of service agreements on here. Be sure you don't break copyright law. Be sure you don't do this. Be sure you don't do that. But yet, somebody had posted a video of the head of this website. The female owner of this website says that politicians can break terms of service agreements because it falls into certain things that go on this website. Let me play a little bit of the audio here, see if I can find it. And I'll play some of the video if I can find it. And you'll hear it for yourself. Let's see if I can get past the opening of this video here. And it says here from Technology, YouTube CEO, politicians can break our content rules. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki said today that content by politicians would stay up on the video sharing website even if it violates the company's standards, echoing a position staked out by Facebook this week. You can watch the video, but I'll play the audio.
So yesterday on the stage, Facebook's Nick Clegg said that his company had sort of a different and a lot of people interpret it as looser standard for politicians on their platforms.
Yeah.
Do you think that politicians should have different standards on YouTube than other content creators because of the sort of specific nature of their speech?
Yeah. So politicians are, of course, are democratically elected, at least in most countries. And there is, it's important for that content to be seen. So, in general, actually, when we make policies, we have, in most cases, what we call an EDSA exception, which would be educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic. And so that would be the type of content that we would say doesn't always meet that same criteria. So when you have a political officer that is making information that is really important for the constituents to see, or for other global leaders to see, that is content that we would leave up because we think it's important for other people to see. One important distinction I'll say is that, look, even if we were to take it down, it would be covered by all the news stories. And the news is always going to provide that information, and they're going to provide it with context. So even if we take something down, a lot of that's controversial, it's often covered by the press. But then it has the context around it of like, this is why we left it up. This is what we think about this event that happened with a politician.
Shit, hold on.
Again, it should be said.
God damn it. Okay. You heard, even though they take it down, they consider it as part of the media machine that is our news. They'll leave it up even if it offends their guidelines. Again, with the hypocrisy that this website is under all the time. They don't want us posting music. They don't want us posting movies. They don't want us talking about the government. What can we talk about on this website? A baby pooping into a diaper? Are they going to start banning that now? Man, this is just bullshit. You can't have one without the other. If you're going to ban the average user for violating terms of service, you should do that to politicians that use this website. The double standards need to stop. And we need to get rid of the CEO of Facebook. I can't pronounce her last name, but she needs to go. And I have posted her name on the sidebar of this video. Send her a message if you can. Let her know how you feel. And I've been spending a lot more time away from this website and going to better pastures, I think. YouTube is a sinking ship, and it's going down like MySpace. It makes me sad and it makes me mad. You know, and the last thing I want to talk about tonight is the possible impeachment of Donald Trump. Yep, a lot of his supporters don't like it, but you know, if Mr. Clinton can be impeached for banging Monica Lewinsky, then Trump should have been impeached for paying off a porn star and leaving Puerto Rico in the lurch, as well as the Bahamas. Haven't heard much more on the rescue operations and cleanup operations in any of those areas, so I mean, what can we do? But yeah, Miss Pelosi's right. Trump is not above the law. No politician is above the law. They need to be held to a higher standard since they are a public official. If they're doing dirty pool, we as a country need to know about it. And those that do dirty pool should be punished. You know, and it's really sad about how low our country has come in the last several years. Let's see. I've been looking at Facebook almost all evening. Let's see what I can find out about that. Let's see. Get past all the weather shit. But yeah. Let's see. You know, Trump has gone so far as to mock a young teenager that's trying to help save this planet. A girl named Greta Thunberg responds to haters, asking why adults spend their time mocking and threatening teenagers. You know, they say that most adults are threatening teenagers and mocking them for promoting science. And from what I've seen on that front, it doesn't look good for us. You know, she's right. Let's see here. Greta Thunberg, the 16-year-old climate activist from Sweden, delivered a fiery, tearful speech to world leaders of the United Nations Climate Action Summit this week. She also filed a legal complaint against 5 of the world's biggest carbon emitters. But she has received, she has faced severe backlash, especially from conservatives in states. A right-winger called her mentally ill on Fox News. But Thunberg has what's called Asperger's syndrome, a superpower. On Wednesday, she responded to her haters on Twitter. I honestly don't understand why adults would choose to spend their time mocking and threatening teens and children for promoting science. And it says she didn't hold back at the United Nations summit. She chastised world leaders in a fiery, tearful speech, then teamed up with other young people to file a legal complaint against 5 countries, alleging that their lack of action to address climate change violates children's rights. The 16-year-old's words and actions have garnered backlash, including a mocking tweet from President Trump. Thunberg responded in a Twitter thread on Wednesday. Quote, as you may have noticed, the haters are as active as ever, going after me, my looks, my clothes, my behavior, and my differences, the young lady had said. And she goes to say, here we go again. I'm going to follow her for a second. And she says in the article, let me get back to that. Here we go again. As you may have noticed, the haters are as active as ever, going after me, my looks, clothes, behavior, and differences. They come up with every thinkable lie and conspiracy theory. And you could click on the link in the article for her page. Go over there, follow it. She needs our support. I'll link it, the article, and the video here in just a few minutes. I'm going to finish reading this for you. She continued, it seems that they will cross every possible line to avert the focus, since they are so desperate not to talk about climate and ecological crises. Being different is not an illness. It's the current, by the best available science. It's not opinions, it's facts. In referring to being different, Thunberg is likely referencing her Asperger's, which she credits to her fierce activist nature and has called a superpower. At the end of her thread, she used the hashtag AspiePower. On Monday, Fox News apologized after a right-winger called Thunberg a mentally ill Swedish child. And she makes this comment, I don't understand why adults would choose to spend their time mocking and threatening teens and kids for talking about science, when they could do something good instead. I guess they must simply feel threatened by us, Thunberg said in her tweets. Other climate activists faced regular abuse online. BuzzFeed News reported on Wednesday that young activists, especially girls, face floods of death threats, porn, and racist messages. And for Thunberg, for her part, chose to troll critic right back this week after Trump said she seemed to be very happy-looking girl looking forward to a bright and wonderful future. The teenager temporarily changed her Twitter bio. A very happy young girl looking forward to a bright and wonderful future, the description read. Thunberg ended her Twitter thread on Wednesday with an invitation for others to join her weekly school strike for climate on Friday. An estimated 4 million people around the globe took part and took to the streets to demand climate action with Thunberg on September 20th. But she has made it clear that such demonstrations should not be seen as one-time events. And it goes on to say, if I could get down here. Oh, that's the end of the article. In other words, she's doing these walkouts unless we do something about climate change. And it's people like Trump and other countries around the world that don't do what they're supposed to do, and that is protect our kids. And I think one of them is protecting Mother Earth. I've been worried about it for a long time. I've noticed something was different since I was about 13 or 14. Whoops. The link's too long, but look for it at the bottom of the video. I have it saved on my little screen here, but you know, a 16-year-old is taking it upon herself to make the world better and make people aware of what's going on. I've noticed that temperatures have been a lot warmer this year. I think my local weatherman said that this September was the second warmest on record, and we're supposed to have higher temperatures than normal, possibly through the first half of October. So, and I think by this weekend, by NBC's weatherman, they say it could be about 90 degrees by this weekend. So, yeah. But, kids have got to do something. If the adults aren't going to do anything, the kids have got to step up, At least they care. They see what's going on. They're not stupid. I've seen some big changes. Polar ice caps are melting, and I think Alaska is a lot warmer. They're known for their cooler climate and dog sledding. I think in some parts of Alaska that they use wheels on their dog sleds now because things have been so warm. You can look it up on the internet. I'm not going to do it for you. We've had threats on our bee population and other animals. And when you see ads like that in the theaters over the last several years, there's some problems going on. And it's really frightening. I mean, just today, we were talking about how things have really changed in terms of not just in the animal population, but how we, the people, treat each other. This talk about possible impeachment of the POTUS, it couldn't come at a good time. It should have happened when we found out that Trump had paid off Stormy Daniels. Should have happened when he was making up all these things about Puerto Rico. And, that guy has no interest in really helping anybody, especially after hearing about what happened in the Bahamas and how he says they have a lot of bad people. But you know what? Sometimes when you're trying to help people, sometimes rats come along with regular cargo. It goes with the territory. It goes with the territory, and one thing I've noticed over the presidency, he's only out to help himself. He's not out to help his fellow guy. Let me see if I can find anything else out about what's going on with this shit. Let me recycle my Facebook here. Let's see. They released the memo about this transcript of Trump's call with the Ukrainian president. I'm going to share the link. I'm not going to read it tonight because it's late, but I'll put it at the bottom of the video. It should have been done a long time ago. I don't know if the video has any sound with it. I don't think so. But you could read it. And it says, the memo released by the White House Wednesday includes the cautionary language. Caution. A memorandum of the telephone conversation, telecon, is not a verbatim transcript of a discussion. The text in the document records the notes and recollections of situation duty officers. And NSC policy staff is assigned to listen and memorialize the conversation in written form. But we all heard this story. I'm not going to read it tonight. It's late. We all know that Trump has had some run-ins with Biden and other elected officials. And let's go back in history a little bit. Richard Nixon, who kept claiming he wasn't a crook, would eventually step down before impeachment proceedings were due to begin. But then Trump says, I didn't threaten anybody. But Joe Biden is pissed off. And I've heard stories that he had asked the Ukrainian president to investigate Biden at least 8 times. And a lot of news people that I follow have asked the question, should Donald Trump be impeached? And my question is yes, on 2 fronts. He doesn't have any political experience. He hasn't shown any real regard for human beings. He has lied on several accounts, and his speech and everything has been declining steadily over this presidency. If you want to know what I'm talking about, check out the Ring of Fire and the David Pakman show. You get all the news you can from them, and I think David Pakman is one of the most concise people that I follow on this YouTube platform when I'm here, which isn't very often anymore, because of the censorship and the blockages. But you know, what I see on the Hill of Hell isn't pretty. What I see on the Hill of Hell isn't pretty. I mean, you got a president that doesn't want to leave the office for the simple fact that he doesn't want to get indicted. We all know he's done some wrong things, and at what a cost. Part of it is an emotional cost, and part of it is a human cost. Let's not forget the people of Puerto Rico, all right? They got hit by a mammoth hurricane. They're dealing with more rain down there and heavy winds. Then the Bahamas took a major, major hit. It looked like a neutron bomb had went off. Of course, there are people out there sending in donations and offering up their services to help, but it's not enough. You got a president that don't want them over here. You know, they don't want them here. You know, not permanently. But what are they going to do? You know, the people in the Bahamas have nothing to go home to. And it doesn't look like it's ever going to be the same. And like I said, you can't put everybody in Nassau to live. So what are they going to do? But the word about Trump's impeachment proceedings has really been flying around here over the last 24 hours. But I don't believe none of it. I believe right now it's all talk. And if they don't get him out, then I think they're all dirty. You know, and Joe Biden's had it really tough this past week, not just on the intelligence call that was released, but he was nearly involved in an accident going to some type of a get-together. He wound up missing that get-together due to an accident on the highway. He wasn't hurt, but somebody was in an accident, and it caused him to miss that get-together. But he extended his apologies over the phone and was going to try and make that up. But the scary thing is, people like Trump or whoever else is involved in politics has been making threats and mocking a 16-year-old who wants nothing more than to make the world better and help keep our ecological systems in check. You know, and this kid's 16. I'd say she's a very smart kid. She could be the one to help solve the emissions problems and help heal the hole in the ozone layer and help us get off fossil fuels. But, you know, they think that the young kids are crazy. But, you know, they don't have to look far to see that the planet's in trouble. I mean, we've got green algae in some of our water systems. And let's not forget the Flint, Michigan crisis. And I hear a lot of things are going on with that. More and more kids are getting disabilities and other illnesses, and it's not fair and it ain't right. You know, and it's really scary. You know, Trump has spent more time chastising young kids and Joe Biden and McCain and made fun of disabled people. That's another thing I won't allow him to live down, not ever. The mocking of a disabled person or picking on teenagers for wanting to talk about science and climate change. You know, and it's sad. And I stand behind that young lady. because whether you know it or not, the children are our future. And we do want to have a better planet for our kids, don't we? You know, and it's just sad. It's just really sad that most people think of the big bucks instead of better health for our children. And it hurts me because I wouldn't want to put my niece through a lot of things that we could really take care of, like reduce, reuse, recycle, and help with the World Wildlife Federation, which I donate every month. I save back about $8 for that. I donate to public television. I donate to certain cancer societies when I get money, and I started donating to ALS maybe $4 or $5 every once in a while. So I want to try and help our fellow man, not kill it. Because I hate to tell you, if we lose one part of our ecosystem, that could be a lot of trouble for us in the future. And let's not forget, the Amazon rainforest has mostly burnt. I haven't heard anything more about it, but I think it's pretty sad. They call that area the Earth's lungs. If we lose that, then there's going to be problems. You know, I wish we could go back to when times was simpler. Not the 50s, you know, back when segregation was the thing, but back when people actually cared about each other. I think ever since 2001, we've lost sight of unification. We want to tear each other down and make things worse. Shouldn't have to be, but I don't know what to do. I don't even know what to do. You know, and it's a shame that people want to kill each other. They would rather covet their guns than hug their children. And today I just heard from a guy called Ace's Adventures that some young lady got killed at a Sears in his home state of New York. If I find that video from Ace's Adventures, I'll be sure to share it here. And, you know, Ace's Adventures is an urban explorer that explores dead businesses and malls. And he had got done filming somewhere and was on his way to this particular mall. And, you know, he was supposed to be there between 1:30 and 2 o'clock. And he didn't get there until after the stabbing had happened. Unfortunately, the 36-year-old had passed away and may have known the assailant, but they claim that the assailant had gotten into a car and left. So now they have to worry about whether this guy is somewhere in that area or whether they'll find him. You could look it up on the internet. Look up Ace's Adventures. ACE. Let me find it. I'll look it up through Google. Ace's Adventures. Okay. Let's see. Get to his channel one way or the other.
Luckily, we have developed a time travel device to transport you.
Hang on. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, there's a lot of videos on his channel. I'll have to relink these videos at the end of the thing here, but yeah, let me see if I can pull up his current video so that way you don't have to. Yeah, this was streamed over 4 hours ago. There's a video on here called Terrible News from my local mall. In the very beginning of it, through most of it, it's about the stabbing that happened at this local mall here. So, yeah, I can at least link that in the sidebar. I don't think the link's too long, but Here you go. Here's the one about the local mall. I want you guys to watch that. A 36-year-old woman was savagely murdered. And the Sears is closed for right now. We don't know how long it's going to be closed, but when he got there, he didn't get too close. He was very respectful and was just watching the police do their job and was very worried, not just about the woman that died, but how it's going to affect the business. And here's what I said on that particular video. And it says, I said, what the fuck is wrong with people? A woman dies at the hands of a jackass. I hear a lot of sirens because as he started filming, you could hear a lot of sirens. So sad that the woman passed away. My thoughts go out to her and all her friends and family. Be safe, Ace. And he's left the video up, so if you want to watch that video, watch it. The sad thing is about the changing of the tide here. It's like people have forgotten how to care, and it makes me sad. It makes me sad. People killing each other over what, And I've been hearing about a lot of cases of road rage, and somebody got killed here in my city that was in a wheelchair, and turned out it was the wrong guy that the one person wanted to take off, and and it's sad. People need to start acting like men and women and not full-blown killers. And if you want to help your fellow man, go work at a soup kitchen. Go to Boys and Girls Club and help the kids, because they really need it. If they're not getting good bonding at home, then work in a Big Brothers, Big Sisters program. Work at Boys and Girls Clubs. Become a doctor and become one of those doctors that helps find a cure for cancer. Or maybe finds a way that you could treat things like CP and spinal cord paralysis. And it's just really scary about how people are anymore. It's like, we're not humans, we're animals. We came from animals and we're reverting back to animals. We're not being human. We're not being supportive of each other. Sure, our outer packages may be different, but we're all human beings, aren't we? It shouldn't matter where you come from. But just with the way things have been going this past week, it's crazy. And then you hear about Alex Trebek, one of the biggest icons. He's gone back for chemotherapy. His cancer has kind of recurred. Haven't heard much about it, but he's going back to do the chemo. But he says as long as he's able to walk out on that stage and do the show, he's happy. But, I'm hoping he'll win this fight, but it doesn't look good. I thought I'd get on here tonight and talk to you guys real quick about certain things, and I think I've done that. But yeah, I haven't really been looking at the news this past week. I've been kind of tired and lazy, and it's just sad. It's just damn sad, because kids need to just be kids, but they can't, because they're facing some pretty tough shit. Global warming, threats on their schools, and illnesses. To end this video out, for any of you guys that are doing the vaping thing, please quit while you can. I heard so many stories about people having lung issues. And I think I heard about one person being put on a ventilator. The head of the Juul vape has stepped down, and several people have died as a result of vaping. Thank God I don't smoke. Thank God I don't vape. But I want to put this question out there. If they get rid of these vaping products, do you think they should do the same thing to cigarettes and fruit flavored mixed drinks? I think so. If you're going to get, either regulate or get rid of the vaping products. But again, with the CDC and the Food and Drug Administration, are you going to do your jobs right or what? Just seems like they put those things out on the market without really testing it out. And it put a lot of kids in the hospital. I don't see what the attraction of e-cigs is. I don't see what the attraction of smoking dope, even if it is to help with their pain. My family, some members of my family have been trying to get me to do the medical marijuana crap, but I don't want to do that. To me, it's just putting another carcinogen in your body that doesn't really belong there. I'm a lot tougher than some people think. Most times I would rather live with the pain than medicate. Besides, I'd be afraid I'd become addicted to wacky weed or some other type of medication. I don't think I could ever do that. But if they're gonna do these bans of several months on these Juul things, or they're gonna get rid of them, they should do the same thing to cigarettes and any form of alcohol. And if you still must sell them, you keep them behind the counter. Your health, you only got one life. You may as well take care of yourself. Seems hard, I know. I'm dealing with it myself, with my cholesterol problem and my joint problem, and I blew out my back this past week, and I'm using something called BioFreeze to help with the muscle strain, but I'm getting better. Not much, but I'm getting better. I'm just trying to take care of myself, and deal with this and deal with that, and getting ready for next month. Can't believe it'll be October already. So we're coming to the end of 2019 here pretty soon. So we're going to be doing an end of year discussion here, probably sometime in mid-November. So I'm not going to do it around Christmas or New Year's. So yeah, I'm taking more and more time for me, going to other websites for my entertainment fix. So yeah. So as I close this video out, over the past week or so, I found some pretty damn good deals on Amazon Video. You know how Warner Brothers has been selling their titles at usually good prices. Shows like Full House, shows like Perfect Strangers had episodes for $4.99 a season, up until the last one for Perfect Strangers. So I picked up what I could of those seasons of Perfect Strangers and put them in my library. I don't know of any other Warner Brothers product that's on sale, but you could check Amazon. They've always got deals going on, and I've been going more and more the digital route. But the only problem is things like Curious George are more pricey. The first few seasons of Arthur are pricey. But I don't want to have to pay for many different channels to get what I want to watch. So I wait for some stuff to come on for free with your membership. And they have some good stuff that you could watch for free with your membership. One show I would recommend you watch is called Inside the Ambulance. It's kind of like an ambulance service over there in England that helps people. And it's really different from what we have here in America. Unlike in America, in their ambulances over there in England, the way they get people out to the ambulance, sometimes they walk out on their own, and sometimes they have a seat chair that wheels them up into the ambulance. Then they put them on a wheelie bed. Then they have, if you're on the ground and you need to be lifted, they have the kind of plastic thing that they snap together. If they can get a piece of it underneath you, they can snap it together while you're on the ground. Then they could get you to the hospital for treatment. I've seen a lot of cases where one guy passed out at a chicken place, and they got him to the hospital, and it looked like he was going to be okay. They go through the rest of the cases on that particular show, and they found out maybe a few weeks later that the same guy had another blackout, but he wasn't so lucky this time. So he passed out and died. And then I watched one tonight where a lady had a degenerative back condition that made her fall. And they tried giving her medications. One was gas and air and another medication. But it didn't really seem to help her pain. So they had to get that backboard that snaps together and put it underneath her and take her to the hospital. So I think they had to up her meds. But the nice thing about how they do their loading of their patients is they don't have it where you have to prop the wheels up to get it into the ambulance. They wheel it up like a little tiny ramp and they snap it in and they wheel the patient off to the hospital. And if you have kids aboard the ambulance, you know how riding in an ambulance can be pretty scary for kids. They have something like calming lights. Like you could take the child in there, and if they're scared, you could turn down the lights, and it gives them like a calming place to be. So check out Inside the Ambulance. If you have an Amazon account and you pay for a membership, you can watch the first 4 seasons for free on that platform. Then they have another one called 999, What's Your Emergency? And you can hear some pretty interesting stories. I like medical shows like that. I've always have. But the only problem with Amazon is that shows like Trauma, Life in the ER, not all of them are available. So you can go on to Amazon and you see 2, 3, and 4. I think that's what's up there, but not all the episodes are there. I was hoping they'd have one from Columbus that they did. Preventive Measures, Columbus, Ohio, that talks about Grant Hospital. But they don't have that. So, and I don't have Trauma, Life in the ER on my TV anymore since my cable tier had to be kicked back a little bit. So, yeah. I like watching stuff where people help people, and it's a tough job. I don't think I could stomach it in real life, but I'm real squeamish around blood and guts and all that. But just seeing them help people and they get well, but some people don't make it. But it gives you a true insight as to what life can be like, not just for the patient, but for the doctor as well. But hopefully, over the coming few days, I'll do more video stops and more video chats. But, since I've been doing more stuff on another platform, I really haven't had the need to come here very much anymore. But I'm about 90% better. Still dealing with the nose drips and the occasional cough, but that's the way it is when the weather gets cooler at night, and sometimes it'll get hot during the day. And these next few days to a week, won't be any different. And by the 3rd, I got to go to the doctors. And by the 10th, I got to go to my podiatrist. So I'll have a full boat on my hands. You know, with October coming, I'll be talking about Halloween, talking about Halloween safety. I'll be talking about some holiday stuff, but I'm not going to be talking about Christmas around Christmas. I'll probably do that in November. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I'll devote to that. Because when it gets around to December, I won't feel like talking about it. And I know some of you people are going to say, why the hell don't you want to talk about Christmas? Are you an atheist? Yes, I am. But yet, Christmas is a depressing time for me. But we'll get into that in another video. But when it comes close to Thanksgiving, I want to talk about some of the things that I am thankful for and what the plans are going to be for this channel in the future. So, yeah. With the censorship shit going on, it's kind of hard to talk about things that we could talk about without offending somebody. Because I was over on my Speak Up for Our Future channel, my expanded channel, about the Me Too movement, what it means, and I've told my story over there. And a lot of people just don't get it. If you're dealing with your own emotional pain, people cut you down for talking about it. And there are those that think that the only good accosted person is a dead accosted person. That is the mentality I have taken. You know, that's what I perceive from nasty people that will never understand what happens to a person like myself. You know, they say, gee, you need to move on. But, you know, as long as there are perverts and slime balls out there, I'm still going to continue to tell my story and get it out there. Just like these young activists, if they care about the planet, if you care enough, you could change things. Look up The Chipmunks Go to Washington. They talk about the plight of the baby eagles in that one. As we all know, the bald eagle was once on the endangered species list. And it really touches on that very well. They hear about a new condo company going to Mount Placid to build their condos. But the thing that's standing in the way is a nest of bald eagles. And being that the eagles are so young, they can't move, they can't leave. So Alvin and his friends decide to go to Washington. Ellie stays behind to film a video of the eagles to help them. And they get to Washington. They don't tell Dave their plan because they fear they might not understand. But when he does find out, they do a benefit for Mount Placid. But their concert is interrupted because they didn't have a permit. You know, and all the pleading and stuff that they've done. You know, the little guy thinks he's failed, and he says, boy, Abe, I was really stupid. I really thought that if you cared enough, you could change things. And he says, well, I guess things have changed since your day. You know, and when the president got wind of the concert, he decides to turn Mount Placid into a federal park, and the eagles were saved. And I didn't realize at that time when it first came out that the eagles were on the endangered species list. My ears went up like an antenna. My mom's like, what's wrong? And I said, you remember the chipmunks, don't you? And she says, yeah. And I said, well, they did one where they went to Washington. And I told her the same thing I told you. And she's like, oh, wow, really? And when I heard that the bald eagles was taken off the endangered species list some years back, I was shocked. I was happy, and I'm a little worried because you never know when some poacher is going to try and hurt them again. And I think they did talk about somebody killing a bald eagle, but I haven't heard anything more about that either. But we'll get into that and more of these discussions tomorrow. I'm tired. It's almost 11 o'clock. I need to sleep. I'm burnt. So have a good night. And as the moniker says, no matter how young you are or how old you are, if you care enough, you could change things. If you care enough about this planet, you could certainly change things. And I want to applaud these young activists for doing the right thing, and that is protecting Mother Earth for future generations to share and take care of. You know, if we don't do it, who will? But we'll get into that here in another couple of days. If anybody has any topic ideas about maybe Trump's impeachment, would it be good or bad? Climate change, fact or fiction? You know my answers to climate change. I believe it's very real. I believe that things are changing at a rapid pace. You can look at footage on the internet, and it's not fake, it's not green screen, it's not blue screen. The stuff that's happening up in Alaska and points north, it's 100% real. So think about it. And think back to when we had The Plight of the Bees playing in our movie theaters. It's serious. And don't forget those Disney films, the wildlife films that came out not so long ago. There's some issues going on, and we need to address them. And to the young 16-year-old, you go for it. You make that change. Make them listen. You know, there's a line in the film Oh God, Book 2. George Burns says, once you get the kids, that's the ball game. You know, you get the kids involved in activism, and you spread that love of planet Earth and the love of people. You spread that onto your children, and they spread it onto their children. And once you do that, that's the ball game. If you want to make a good positive change, you follow through on it. Don't let it get away. Don't ever think it's impossible. If you want to find a cure for cancer, we can find a cure for cancer. We did for polio. Let's get to work. Let's buckle down and show our government what we as a human being can do. Because believe me, we need it. And I'll do what I can for my niece. I'll do what I can for our fellow animals that don't have a voice. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But if you want to donate to help our habitats, go to World Wildlife Federation and make a donation. I did one for the white snow leopard that was so prevalent here last year. I have the little bag and the little white snow leopard beanie in my house here. So, yeah, do what you can for our fellow animals and plant a tree if you can. You know, take care of your trees, take care of any plants. Help animals that really need it. Even if it means donating to an animal shelter. Donate to a no-kill animal shelter. Some animal shelters are going no-kill. And I'm glad for that. And here's the feel-good story of the year, I think. There was a guy that had taken a shining to this little dog that had been in a homeless shelter for about a year, maybe more than that. He was so connected to this dog, but he couldn't adopt him himself. But the one thing he did was he moved into that animal shelter and stayed with that dog until it found a forever home. The story went viral, and that dog now has a forever home, and it was on my news last week. So, yeah. You know, that's what we need is more good human interest items. And it's people like that guy and the young 16-year-old activist that shows that there is a little bit of hope left in this world. You know, and I don't want my niece growing up in a world where people don't care. People need to start caring about each other. You know, just like if one of my friends here on YouTube needed help, I would try to do my best to help them. You know, if they have something that's bothering them or any concerns, they could get on their live chats, like my friend Ace of Ace's Adventures talked about the woman that was stabbed at the mall. He got on there and talked about it. And he felt so bad, and he was so worried about what the future would be. You know, but I don't know where we went wrong. I mean, people are killing each other over what? You know, it's just sad. It really is. Road rage incidents, people getting stabbed, people getting shot. It's terrible. And then I heard about a father that made a threat on his kid's school. Let me see if I can find out something about that before I get off tonight. And if the link's not too long, I'll post that in the sidebar and the rest down below when I get a chance. Father makes a threat on kid's school. Let me see if I can go to my NBC4i.com. Let me see what I can find out about that. NBC4. Okay. All right. We'll go to my local news here. Let's see what we got here. It's not loading very well. Let's see. Whoa. Oh, wow. Oh, man. More and more bad news, but I'll talk about it tomorrow. But let's see what we can find out. Let's see. Pumpkin season begins. Be sure to check if you're in a different area than me. Check and see if there's any pumpkin patches near you that are allowing you to harvest pumpkins. Let's see here. Let's see what's left. Oh, yeah. Chris Brown, the singer, was supposed to do a show here in my area, but he's sick. Let's see what else. Oh, there's a lot of news things here, so yeah. I mean, it's sad. It really is. Yeah, let me see what else I can find here. I know my video's not very good, but I was trying to find that one story. Oh, here's something you might like. I'm going to end it with this tonight. For those Jurassic World freaks, Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern, Sam Neill to return for Jurassic World 3. You can look it up on the internet. So, yeah. See here. Yep. That's all I'm going to talk about tonight. For those of you that like Jurassic World, there'll be a Jurassic World 3 in our future. So, yeah. You guys could look that information up, but I'm going to close this video tonight. I know it's not very good. It's late. I'm tired. But check out the stupid double standard that I linked in the sidebar here that YouTube is pulling on the regular user like you and me. We could be banned for saying the N-word. We could be banned for things that sound like hate speech. We could be banned for posting music and movie clips. But yet some politics done by real politicians can violate their terms of service. Look it up. It's a video I found up on BitChute, so check that out. And then I'll have some other articles here about the young activist and the transcript of Donald Trump. So give me a couple of minutes. I'll get the transcript for Donald Trump, the link to the article below in the video, and the other one I will put up about the young activist receiving threats for talking about science and climate change. So read those articles. They're very important. And we need to start listening to our kids. If they have something that's important to them, that is for the good of the rest of us, we need to start listening to our children. They're not stupid. They're extremely smart, and they know more than you think. So think about it, ladies and gents. Maybe by tomorrow morning, I'll get back on between 11 and 1 o'clock, and we will do another discussion then. I want to thank whoever's been watching my video. It means a lot. You don't have to say anything. But really, if you want to make a positive difference and you feel that you can do it, follow through on it. You know, if you care enough, you can make that change. And as to Donald Trump, we'll see what happens with him. They've been saying impeachment for about a year now. I won't believe it unless I actually see it. Because if they don't impeach him, I consider them all dirty. Good night, everybody. As soon as I get these links up, I'm going to be going to bed. Have a good night and take care. Peace